Hello and welcome to the abridged version of Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Habiba Oladipo. The House of Representatives has passed the National Minimum Wage Amendment Bill and adopted 30,000 naira as the new minimum wage for workers in Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali has the reports.
At the commencement of plenary Tuesday, the ad hoc committee set up to collate information from stakeholders on the National Minimum Wage Bill, chaired by Deputy Speaker Yusuf Lasson, presented the committee's report and gave reasons for its recommendations.
The tripartite committee that was set up by Mr. President actually did recommend 30,000 as the minimum wage.
The House, after consideration of the report, adopted and passed the bill.
We have considered the report and effectively passed this into law, subject to what the Senate will do. If the Senate accepts our position, then we are done and dusted.
The lawmakers also passed for second reading the 2019 appropriation bill of more than 8.8 trillion naira and referred it to the House Committee on Appropriation for further legislative action, while all standing committees are to serve as subcommittees. In the meantime, the Speaker, Yakubu Dogara, formally announced his defection, and two other members of the House of Representatives from APC to PDP. The House thereafter adjourned plenary to Tuesday, 19th February 2019. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration will continue to pay serious attention to safeguarding the nation's resources for the benefit of all. The president was speaking at the APC presidential campaign rally in Umuahia, the Abia state capital. Political correspondent Salihu Abdullahi reports.
In continuation of its nationwide campaigns, the APC presidential team was received at the Eyimba International Stadium, Umuahia, by a large crowd of APC supporters and fans of President Muhammadu Buhari. To the people of the state, President Muhammadu Buhari remains a committed leader whose administration's policies are dynamic in building a strong and inclusive democracy.
Abia people, our popularity will be tested on 16th of February. Are we ready? What we need in leadership are men or women, statesmen, who are broad-minded, who accept Nigeria as their own constituency, as President Muhammadu Buhari has done.
President Muhammadu Buhari says, in addition to the key agenda of fighting corruption, boosting the economy, as well as securing the nation, paying attention to critical infrastructure remains a priority of his government beyond 2019.
Are doing the roads now. We are doing railways, which was neglected and virtually killed. And we are doing power, and is one of the projects that I came to commission here today. I assure you of what I believe, that if we get the infrastructure correct, the roads, the rail, power, Nigerians will mind their own businesses. I expect you this time around to vote APC.
APC flags were presented to the party's candidates who have been encouraged to work for victory in the forthcoming polls. Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Nigerian youths have resolved to key into the agenda of the All Progressives Congress in order to renew the mandate of President Muhammadu Buhari for another tenure so as to enable him continue his service to humanity and building a robust nation. At a consultative meeting in Abuja, the Directorate of Youth Mobilization of the APC Presidential Campaign Council commended the peaceful atmosphere that characterized the campaign activities across the country. Political correspondent Saliu Abdullahi again reports.
According to the INEC statistics, youths between the ages of 18 and 35 constitute 51.11% of the total number of voters expected to participate in the forthcoming general elections. Majority of this number have aligned themselves with the current government, which, according to them, deserves support to show appreciation in keeping its promises of youth engagement through its social investment programs and encourage them to do more.
And the most important thing, what can you do and which area can you come to make sure that starting from your polling unit, what can you do to canvass more support to make sure that you deliver, you contributed towards delivering your polling unit for Mr. President?
In another development, Forum of all registered APC support groups have embarked on street rally in Abuja, the nation's capital, to drum up support for the re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari. The event also provided an opportunity for the group to state its position on some national issues.
That we are in full support of President Muhammadu Buhari suspension of Chief Justice of Nigeria. We always stand with Mr. President in his anti-corruption campaign.
The all-registered APC support group coordinates the activities of more than 300 APC support groups engaged in carrying out grassroots mobilization across the country. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Take charge of your future and stop being used as an instrument for electoral violence. This is from the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, to Nigerian youths as discussion on violence-free general election holds in Abuja. Mio Gidi reports.
Quite energetic and with the numerical strength on their side, many see the 2019 elections as an election for the youths. Youths constitute 43 million out of the 84 million eligible voters for the elections. That is 51% of the entire voting population. As characteristic of typical desperate politician, taking advantage of this segment of the population to perfect unholy deals is not far-fetched, and many are worried. So, INEC and our youth ambassadors are having frank talks with youth leaders across the country on the need to be decisive on their choices and not to bow to the pressures of politicians in executing their dirty deals.
Don't be mobilized for doing the wrong by people whose future is already determined. The future is yours, not for those who may wish, for all manner of reasons, to mobilize you in the wrong direction.
And elections over the years, that someone will just be sent to snatch a box and run away. So this is one thing we should also not allow ourselves to be used for.
Permanent voters card is the most prized commodity at the moment, and INEC has promised to declare the total number of uncollected permanent voters card before the elections to ensure transparency in the process. Mie Ogede, NTA News.
For the Nigerian intelligence community to be more proactive in tackling security challenges, credible information sharing gap must be addressed among security agencies. This was a consensus at the leadership course in criminal intelligence and intelligence management circle in Abuja. Defense correspondent Olajide Bello reports.
The asymmetric nature of contemporary security challenges makes it imperative for security agencies to up their game by being proactive rather than reactive. The need to expand the Nigerian intelligence community, inadequate space on geospatial technology, interagency rivalry, absence of central data and weak central coordination were some of the challenges identified to be bedeviling the security sector in Nigeria.
In the Nigerian context, lack of intelligence sharing is fostered by a keen sense
of competitiveness and believe that relevance lies in hoarding intelligence from others and being the first and only source of a crucial piece of information.
Intelligence should drive criminal investigation. And when you do that, then it means that you're having a healthy respect for the rights of the citizens. And when you start having that, then you start winning the support of, the people who you are supposed to serve. So it's a symbiotic thing.
The concept of strategic spiritual intelligence, or SSI, is being developed to serve as a complementary source of intelligence for what I call strategic empirical intelligence.
The take-home is for more synergy and flexibility of information sharing to curtail insecurity in the country. In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. More reports after this break. Welcome back to Nationwide. Reports just reaching us says the National Judicial Council, NJC, has ended its emergency meeting. Justice Walter Onorgan and IT Mohammed have been given 7 working days to respond to the petition written against them. Petition written against CCT chairman has been referred to the Federal Judicial Service Commission. The NJC is expected to reconvene on 11th February 2019. And moving on, the Forum of Presidential Candidates and Political Parties for Good Governance says the suspension of Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Onorgan, should not be politicized as no one is above the law. This was at the media briefing in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports.
The Forum of Presidential Candidates and Political Parties for Good Governance on the suspension of Justice Onorgan says action by the presidency was in compliance with the law. Chairman of the Forum and Presidential Candidate of Advanced Congress of Democrats, Shitu Muhammad Kabir, called on Nigerians to allow the rule of law prevail.
President Buhari acted in the overall interest of the masses of Nigeria. So much is required from the judiciary since they hold the power of life and death. Judges are therefore expected to live above board and be incorruptible.
The forum implored Nigerians and the international community to appreciate the need for the bold action by the Buhari administration and give the needed support to ensure that the country evolves in an unblemished and egalitarian society where all citizens are treated equally and fairly irrespective of status. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NT News.
Meanwhile, a group of concerned lawyers are insisting that President Muhammadu Buhari is right to have suspended the former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Onorgan, in line with the present administration's fight against corruption. During a peaceful rally held at the Unity Fountain in Abuja, the lawyers carrying various banners said it is an avenue to commend President Muhammadu Buhari's administration for such a bold step towards making Nigeria corruption-free, particularly his efforts to bring sanity to the legal profession. Convener of the rally, Barrister Hussein Saraki, says it would have been unfair to Nigerians if someone indicted with corruption charges continued to preside over a sensitive arm of government like the judiciary.
Fight one thing and to support one thing, and what is that thing is corruption. We believe that corruption is killing our country, and we are fully in support of Mr. President in his effort to fight against corruption. Nobody should be discriminated.
The judiciary is not above the law, and the president is acting based on the instruction of the CCT. So Onorgan must go.
We appreciate his effort. And in view of that, we felt that the only way to show our support to him is to convey this kind of rally in solidarity to him. We are not being sponsored by any organization.
The All Progressives Congress in the Senate has dissociated itself from the legal action by the Senate against the suspension of Justice Walter Onorgan. Senate leader Ahmed Lawan, reacting to the statement from the office of the Senate President, explained that there was no time the Senate met to take the decision on the matter.
It has come to the notice of the Senate APC caucus that the Senate has approached the Supreme Court for the interpretation of the suspension of Justice Walter Nigerian by the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. For the records, the Senate never met to take such a resolution and at no time mandated anyone to approach the Supreme Court on this matter on his behalf. Consequently, the Senate APC caucus disassociates itself from the said request for the legal interpretation of the suspension.
Center of Excellence Lagos is our first stop on Nationwide with Jennifer to guide us through reports from that zone. Hello, Jennifer.
Thank you, Habiba, and welcome to Lagos. Some lawyers in Lagos ignored the directive of the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, to boycott the courts for 2 days to protest the suspension of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Onoge, by President Muhammadu Buhari. Vera Chimuba, who visited some courts in Lagos, reports that some of them described the call as an act of injustice to those incarcerated.
The decision by the NBA to boycott court for 2 days is based on what it termed the unconstitutional removal of the CJN. What is the implication of this for litigants and judicial staff in terms of undermining the cause of justice? Two lawyers are here with me to speak on the issue.
I'm highly disappointed with the decision made by NBA that we should boycott the court today, because we have millions of people in the custody charging with frivolous criminal offenses, while we have, just because the CJN is being challenged, I don't know whether somebody that is above the law.
Why are you in court today if you are to obey the NBA order?
Yes, the directives are to the lawyers, but of course we do not have directives that judges will not sit. We have to be here. Cases in court belong to the litigants.
If the judiciary is desecrated, the judges cannot speak.
The federal government has said that the suspension of the CJN is not a sign of dictatorship, contrary to what is being insinuated by the opposition, but a consequence of its breach of code of conduct for public officers. In Lagos, Vera Chumuba, NTA News.
Now, Nigerians of good conscience in Lagos have held a rally against corruption and fraudulent practices by judges and commended President Muhammadu Buhari for suspending Justice Walter Onoge as the Chief Justice of Nigeria over alleged corruption.
The walk, which started from Motorway Park in Ikeja through to Freedom Park, was a clarion call on Nigerians to support the sincere quest of President Muhammadu Buhari to stamp out corruption in the country. The protesters, with various inscriptions commending the president, lauded the suspension of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Onoge, for alleged corruption. Deputy Director of the group, Abi Kolaole, said the work was to garner support and sensitize Nigerians on President Muhammadu Buhari's decision to sanitize the judiciary.
We are here to say that we are in support of the president in this fight of anti-corruption. We are in his support. It should continue to 2023. It should continue as much as God will be with him. We pray for the president that God should give him a good health. And we are also calling on good Nigerians to see reasons why the president must continue his good work. We must not return Nigeria to those old days.
As the last hope of the common man, the group believed the suspension of the CJN will promote social justice.
It is very good one. It is a very good move. The CJN himself, the chief law officer of the nation, is not clean. So how then can he dispense a clean judgment? Nigerians should stop supporting corruption.
The significance of the matter is we are in support of sanity in the judiciary. It is so clear, it is so glaringly clear now that the judiciary is so corrupt. How do you get justice?
For more on Nationwide, let's join Charles in our Makurdi Network Center.
Thank you and welcome to Makurdi. Our first report is from the health sector, and it says, Benue State government has confirmed outbreak of Lassa fever in the state. Commissioner for Health and Human Services, Dr. Emmanuel Eru, who disclosed the development to our health correspondent, Blessing Omeche says there are cases with 1 death recorded.
Following the outbreak of Lassa fever in some neighboring states of Taraba, Nasarawa, and Plateau, with over 60 cases and 16 deaths recorded, Benue State set up a surveillance team to monitor the situation in the state. The team, however, confirmed 2 cases as at 25th of January 2019, with 1 death. State Commissioner for Health and Human Services, Dr. Emmanuel Eru, says the 2 patients had been quarantined at the designated center located at the Benue State University Teaching Hospital, Makudi, where they are undergoing treatment.
We have 2 cases of Lassa fever and 1 reported case of death, and the ministry went into actions and quarantined them, and the patient is receiving adequate medical treatment and is responding to treatment.
The commissioner further added that the surveillance team are combing the victims' areas for contact tracing. He assured the public of government's efforts in the provision of drugs, personal protection kits to cater for any medical emergency. He urged the general public to report any symptoms of the disease, which include fever, headache, nausea, sore throat, and bleeding through nose and ears to relevant authorities. In Makudi, Blessing, NTA News.
And thus our contribution from Makudi is now back to Abuja for the continuation of the news.
Many thanks, Charles. 2 persons have so far lost their lives following a recent outbreak of Lassa fever in Ebonyi State. Neka Oko reports that the situation is now under control through the combined efforts of the Federal Teaching Hospital, Abakaliki, and a team of foreign doctors.
For the establishment of Virology Center by the state government in 2016, Lassa fever-related deaths were alarming owing to late presentation, wrong diagnosis, and lack of required drugs. The hospital had to rely on IRA Specialist Teaching Hospital for diagnosis, which affected early treatment.
Samples are not more taken to IRA for diagnosis. A lot has been done by this group, which includes the building that will be handed over today. In fact, FEDA is lucky to have partnership with MSF.
I wish to commend the team of MSF doctors, Doctors Without Borders, for their rescue mission over the Lassa fever menace and better.
Facilitators of the gesture, Doctors Without Borders, expressed readiness to offset all the medical bills of all Lassa patients at the hospital.
An emergency team from MSF arrived last year in March, and we were here for 2 months, and we trained a number of staff. We started to set up some infection prevention and control measures.
This observation bay is one of the programs that we put in place together with the FETA team.
The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Daniel Umezurike, while appreciating the gesture, confirmed that the recent outbreak is under control.
We have recorded 12 confirmed cases, and 5 of them are presently on admission. Within this year, are presently on admission, doing very well. 5 have been discharged, 5 have been successfully treated and discharged. Unfortunately, we lost 2.
Meanwhile, 10 staff who gave in to the dreaded disease in the line of duty since 2005 were immortalized by the hospital management. In Abakaliki, Neka Uku, NTA News.
Over now to Maiduguri for a situation report on the NBA boycott and other reports. It's over now to Naomi for details. We sincerely apologize for the loss of audio with Naomi. It's time for another break. Stay tuned after reports. With sports updates, we've come to the end of Nationwide for today. Thanks for watching. I am Habiba Oladikbo.